Hey there. So you're in St. Francis and you're looking for some help training your dog. You've definitely come to the right place. We're going to break down exactly how you can find a fantastic trainer right here in your own community. I mean, we all have that dream, right? Just a nice, peaceful walk with your best bud, maybe down the trails at Rum River Central Regional Park. And you know what? That's totally doable. It just starts with getting the right kind of help. All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start by focusing on St. Francis itself, then we'll get into what good training actually looks like. We'll cover different programs, the costs you can expect, and even give you a list of questions to ask. And finally, we'll touch on some local rules and great spots to practice. Let's get into it. First things first, let's think local. And this isn't just about finding a trainer who's close by. It's really about finding someone who gets the world you and your dog live in and day out. See, a trainer who's from the St. Francis area, they know the deal. They get that your dog needs to be cool with kids whizzing by on bikes, maybe some deer on the trails, and just the general pace of life here in Anoka County. That local insight helps them shape the training for real life right outside your door. Okay, so what should you actually be on the lookout for in a trainer? Let's talk about the methods and, the qualifications that really make a difference for getting results that actually stick. You're going to hear this term a lot. Positive reinforcement. It's really the cornerstone of modern humane training, and it's super simple. You reward the good stuff, the behavior you want to see more of. Not only does it work incredibly well, but it also builds up that trust and that bond with your dog. It makes training feel good for both of you. Now, at first glance, this just looks like a bunch of alphabet soup, right? But honestly, these acronyms are a pretty big deal. They mean the trainer has gone through formal education in animal behavior and science-backed methods. So if you see something like CPDT-KA, that's a really good sign you're talking to a true professional who's serious about their craft. And this part, well, this is absolutely crucial. Any trainer who suggests using things like intimidation, fear, or pain, that's a huge red flag. Those methods are just plain outdated, and they can actually create brand new behavioral problems or make the ones you have even worse. The goal here is a confident, happy dog, and that can only come from humane, respectful training. Okay, so you've got a handle on what good training looks like. Now, which type of program is right for you? Should you do a group class or maybe one-on-one lessons? Let's break down the options so you can figure out the best fit for your dog and what you're trying to achieve. So here are the two most common choices, side by side. Group classes, they're awesome for socialization and for learning to handle real-world distractions. Plus, they're usually a bit easier on the wallet. Private lessons, though, that's where you get that one-on-one customized plan that's all about your dog, perfect for tackling specific issues or things that only happen at home. And of course, there are other types of training too. Poppy classes are, frankly, a must for getting your little one started on the right paw. Then there's behavior modification, which is for more complex stuff like fear or reactivity. In-home training is perfect for zeroing in on problems right where they happen, and a board and train is like a super intensive boot camp for your dog. All right, let's talk about the practical stuff. Money. What should you expect to budget for professional dog training right here in the St. Francis area? Just to give you a quick ballpark figure, a single one-hour private lesson is typically going to be somewhere between $80 and $120. That's a good baseline to keep in mind as you start looking at different trainers and what they offer. Now, this table gives you a much better look at the whole picture. You can see a 6-week group class might run you somewhere in that $150 to $250 range, and then the more intensive programs like a 2-week board and train are obviously a much bigger investment. Having these numbers should really help you plan and find something that works for your budget. Okay, this next part is super practical. When you start actually calling or emailing trainers, having the right questions ready to go is going to make you feel so much more confident in your choice. So think of this as your consultation checklist. You want to ask about their philosophy, their certifications, and how they customize training for each dog. Definitely ask what format they recommend for your specific goals. You'll also want to know how they measure progress, and of course, always get a clear total cost estimate right up front. This checklist puts you in the driver's seat. And finally, let's bring it all back home. A well-trained dog makes for a great neighbor. So let's quickly cover the local rules and some of the best spots to go practice all those new skills. This is where all that training really comes in handy in your everyday life because it helps you follow the local rules without even thinking about it. The city has a 6-foot leash law, so having good loose leash walking skills is a must. There's also a nuisance ordinance, which means managing barking is key. And, of course, everyone in Minnesota needs to have a current rabies vaccination for their dog. And where can you put all this great training to use? Well, the St. Francis Dog Park is a fantastic, fenced-in spot for working on that recall. The trails over at Rum River are just perfect for practicing polite leash skills with real distractions around. Think of these local parks as your real-world classrooms. You see, investing in good training is about so much more than just sit and stay. It's really about building a stronger bond and just opening up a more enjoyable life with your dog. We wish you the best of luck on your search. Just imagine all the amazing adventures you're going to have with your well-behaved buddy right here in St. Francis.